Hi everyone and welcome back to Quantra Newsroom with another important video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about what you should do and what you shouldn't do if you lose your brakes while you are driving down the road. So if you're ready to get this lesson started, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so what is the first thing that you should do if you were to lose your brakes? Well, if you have a standard vehicle, you want to go ahead and use your clutch and select gears to low gears, but don't select the lowest gear at once. Try going to low gears one by one. Now, I know that sounds kind of crazy because you don't normally think about using your clutch unless you've been driving a stick shift for a long time. But if you have a manual transmission vehicle, you can actually use the clutch and low gears to help you slow down or stop. That will cause your engine to disengage from your transmission, and that will allow you to coast to a stop using only your other things, like your hazard lights, your turn signals, and your parking brake. If you've got a vehicle with an automatic transmission, unfortunately for you, there's no real good substitute for your brakes. But if you have auto transmission with manually selecting gear types such as sport modes or low gear selecting options, you can always select to lower gear to slow down the car. And I know turning on your hazard signal is probably one of the most important things you can do if you were to lose your brakes. And there's a couple of reasons why. Number one, it tells everybody else around you that, hey, I'm not driving my normal, everything's okay, I've got my signals on. It lets people around you know that you might be doing something a little bit out of the ordinary, which in this case, if you don't have any brakes, that's definitely out of the ordinary. But also, your hazard lights may actually help you stop faster. Let me explain. The reason that we use our brakes to begin with is to slow ourselves down or to stop. Well, your hazard lights, even though they're not going to slow you down, are going to alert everybody around you much faster than, say, a regular turn signal would. Because when your hazard lights flash, they flash fast. Your regular turn signals don't flash that fast. And that rapid flashing of your hazard lights is going to alert everyone around you much sooner than your normal turn signals would. So that's why it's so important to turn on your hazard lights anytime you're in an emergency situation. Now, if you happen to be in a situation where your hazard lights don't work, I wouldn't worry too much about that. Just try to drive as slowly as you possibly can until you can come to a stop. The next thing that you should do if you were to lose your brakes is you should not panic. Now, I know that sounds easier said than done, but really, if you panic, you're not going to make yourself feel better. You're not going to fix the problem. And panicking could potentially put yourself and others at risk. If you're behind someone and you panic and hit the person in front of you, that's not going to make anybody feel better. It's just going to compound the problem. So regardless of what you do, panicking is never the answer. So stay calm. Try to figure out what's going on. If you're able to pull off to the side of the road, then that's what you should do. Signal your intentions to everyone else. Try to slow down as much as you can. Try to not panic and put yourself in a worse situation than you already are in. Okay, so those are a few things that you should do if you were to lose your brakes. So now let's talk about some things that you definitely should not do. And we're gonna start that list off with mechanical and electric parking brakes. First off, here's why you shouldn't use your parking brake if you lose your brakes. When you apply your parking brake, you're putting your rear wheels completely locked up. So you're going to have no steering control over your vehicle at all. You're going to have very little control over your vehicle at all. And that's just something you don't want to deal with if you're on the roadway and you're trying to stop. If you're trying to come to a stop safely and you put your parking brake on, you're going to skid. So don't use your parking brake. It won't help you. It will hurt you. Okay, so the next thing that you definitely should not do if you were to lose your brakes is speed up. I know that sounds kind of weird because if you were to lose your brakes, and you're trying to stop, the first instinct would be to say, well, I'm gonna slow down, I'm gonna coast to a stop, or I'm gonna try to slow down as much as I can. But slowing down isn't really an option because that's going to keep your wheels from having traction on the roadway. And that's going to cause you to slide off the road or cause you to spin out. So don't speed up. Okay, so speeding up will not help you stop quicker. It'll make your stopping distance much longer and increase the severity of the crash. Okay, so don't speed up. Number 3, you definitely don't want to ride your brakes. So if you're in a situation where you don't have brakes, you've already lost them. So pumping your brakes or riding your brakes is not going to fix the problem. In fact, it's going to make things much worse. It's going to cause you to overheat your brake fluid and actually reduce your braking power even more. So don't ride your brakes. Don't pump your brakes. Once you realize that you've lost your brakes, don't continue to press on them hoping that they'll magically come back. That's not going to happen. So forget about your brakes once you've realized that you've lost them. Next thing that you definitely don't want to do if you lose your brakes is to ignore your warning lights or warning symbols. Okay, So if your vehicle starts displaying warning symbols or warning lights and you ignore them and you don't address them, you're not going to fix the problem. So if your vehicle has warning lights, don't just ignore them. Pay attention to them. See if there's anything that you can do to rectify the situation. Now I know that sounds easier said than done, because what if the warning light doesn't tell you exactly what the problem is? Well, in that case, you just have to do your best to try to assess the situation for yourself. Okay? And see what's going on. And last but not least, you definitely don't want to ignore your mirrors or look at your mirrors. Okay? If you're in a situation where you've lost your brakes, you need to be hyper-vigilant about what's going on around you. If you're driving on the roadway and you lose your brakes, you need to check your mirrors every single second to see what's going on behind you. Check your blind spots. Do everything that you can to make sure that people around you are aware of your situation. Okay, you need to see what's going on. Not looking at your mirrors or ignoring your mirrors is going to put yourself and others at risk. Well, that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope that you learned something. If you did, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and share with your friends. And remember, stay safe out there.